Good morning. So last week we talked about the 8 basic health laws as found in the acronym New Start. When we actually were thinking about doing hand washing, but actually just recently we came across some articles that might actually be very helpful to us during this time. And so we're going to talk about vitamin D instead. There is some critical information, so pay attention. So what is vitamin D? Well, vitamin D is a fat-soluble vitamin that is critical to many vital body functions. Scientists suggest that vitamin D treatment may be helpful in treating or preventing autism, autoimmune disease, cancer, chronic pain, depression, diabetes, hypertension or high blood pressure, neuromuscular diseases, osteoporosis, respiratory infections such as historic tuberculosis, and viral illnesses such as influenza. In 2010, a prospective, which means it's a futuristic, you don't know what the outcome is, it's not looking back, it's looking forward, randomized, which means that just random people were used for study. A double-blinded, meaning that there is no bias from the researcher or from the study applicants. And a controlled study, meaning that there was not only a treatment arm but also a control arm where you did nothing. This is one of the best kinds of studies to decrease bias in research. So this prospective randomized double-blinded control study of 340 Japanese school children tested whether taking vitamin D would prevent the seasonal flu or not. So during the height of flu season in winter, they followed these children for 4 months. Half of them took a pill of 1,200 international units of vitamin D, and the other half just took a placebo, so they didn't know if they were treatment or not. What they found was that those who were in the vitamin D group had 40% lower incidence of the flu type A, and that's the more problematic type of flu. And this is statistically significant. Vitamin D, they were studying, and it decreases the production of inflammatory cytokines and increases the production of the anti-inflammatory cytokines. Well, what are cytokines, you ask? Well, cytokines are actually the chemicals that are released by our immune system that then modify our immune system. So while our immune system is generally a good thing, sometimes having our immune system ramped up too much is actually a bad thing, and it turns the body against itself, such as lupus, diabetes type 1, multiple sclerosis, rheumatologic diseases, etc., etc., etc. So my adult medicine colleagues have actually noticed that these interleukins, which are a type of cytokine, are high in the disease process in the lungs called ARDS, or acute respiratory distress syndrome. When the fluid collects in the smallest of the air sacs, which is the most critical part of the lungs that involved air exchange and where we are able to breathe, basically. These patients that have ARDS require ventilators to help them breathe, and crazy high settings at that. So many professionals question if vitamin D can actually help prevent COVID, and once it's contracted, if it will help prevent its lethal complications. Now, note, please, there is no cure for COVID right now. The things that we do know to help prevent it is social distancing, and make sure you have good, effective hand washing are the only ways known to prevent. But those studies are lacking because the imminent nature of the infection, it's so new, it is reasonable to ensure that your body's vitamin D levels are good to ensure best protection. So how much vitamin D should we get? Well, the current recommended daily allowance in adults more than 19 years of age is 600 international units. If you're older than 70, that increases to 800 international units per day. But the studied max doses have showed safety for people 9 and older to take up to 4,000 international units per day. It's best, we know, to take a daily supplement instead of waiting to take intermittent megadoses. And we don't want to take more than 4,000 international units daily, or it can actually lead to toxicity, which can eventually lead to heart and kidney failure if it's prolonged. So I want to remind you, we have a master physician who wants to give us good health. He says in Jeremiah 33:3, "Call to me, and I will answer you, and I will show you great and mighty things which you do not know." And in verse 6, he says, "I will heal them and reveal them the abundance of peace and truth." Why? Because he wants us to be the shining lights of health to those around us. He also says further in Jeremiah 33:9 that which he actually was referring to the body of the Israelite people, shall be to me a name of joy, a praise, and an honor before all the nations of the earth, who shall hear all the good things that I do to them. They shall fear and tremble for all the goodness and all the prosperity that I provide. So if we take these 8 natural laws of health to heart, my brothers and sisters, your health will be a blessing to yourself, to others, and to our God.